Sunday Gunday. What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things, and today we're taking a look at a gun unlike anything else I've ever shown on my channel before. Some of you who are fans of old Western TV shows may remember seeing something similar to this strapped to the leg of Steve McQueen as he rode around putting holes in bad guys. Not the 6-shooter, today we're taking a look at the Mare's leg from Henry Repeating Arms. The Mare's leg, as it's been nicknamed, is essentially a cut-down, modified version of the Henry Big Boy 45 Colt repeating rifle. The idea behind this design is for the gun to be holstered like a pistol, but fired with the speed of a lever-action rifle. This version in particular is chambered in 45 Colt, but it can also be found in 44 mag, 357 mag, and even 22 long rifle and 22 mag. Like most classic Henry rifles, this is sporting a handcrafted American walnut stock and a beautifully polished brass receiver with hardware to match. I'm sure you've already noticed how small this thing is, and that is because it is technically a pistol with an octagon blue steeled barrel that comes in at just over 12 inches. The stock is also cut down to meet that pistol requirement and gives this gun an overall length of just 25 inches. On top, you will find a fully adjustable rear sight with a brass bead front post, and the loop lever is enlarged, making it easy and smooth to get those rapid fire shots. All of this is brought together with the very well known Henry action, and the whole package is built right here in the USA. Now, typically when I have a gun with a magazine under 10 rounds, I will give you guys my first mag impression after 2 mags instead of 1. And since this is chambered in 45 Colt, this little guy only holds 6 rounds, so I will do just that. Now, to load this Mare's leg, I will simply twist this in the front and pull it out until I have access to the magazine tube. In this case, I'm just going to remove it completely. And then I will take my 6 rounds of 45 long Colt and simply drop them down the tube. The last round will remain visible, as you can see here, and then I will simply reinsert this into the tube and then twist the knob over so that it locks under this little recessed notch. This thing is ready to rock now, so let's head out and start slinging some lead. Let's load this up for one more go. Alright guys, back for my first mag impression of the Mare's leg. I have to start off by saying that I am very surprised with the way that this thing recoils. I've only ever shot a handful of lever action rifles in my life, and I've definitely never shot a lever action pistol like this, so I was expecting it to actually jump out of my hands a little bit more. Just after that first shot though, I'm out on target, a nice crisp trigger pull, and it's basically like clicking a mouse. There isn't a whole lot of muzzle rise, all of the recoil just seems to be very linear coming straight back. So as long as you have a good firm grip on the stock here, I don't think that this is going to be very hard to shoot for pretty much anyone. Accuracy wise though, that may take a little bit of getting used to. It seems like all of my TA targets out there, I was aiming center mass, but I was hitting more in the head region, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just have to get used to these sights. Here's an idea of what I'm working with for the sights. As you can see, the rear is very wide with a diamond down below. And then here in the front sight post is a small brass bead. Not too hard to see here with the overcast skies, and I don't think it would be any harder to see in direct sunlight either. Since I was hitting high, I can simply lift this rear sight up because it is adjustable and move it just a tiny bit. I will see if that does anything as far as accuracy goes. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with the shooting feeling of it so far. I was really expecting this thing to be a little bit awkward and kind of jumpy. We'll see if I can start hitting more center mass and then maybe even see how far out I can go with this little 12-inch barrel. Now, aesthetically speaking, this pistol is obviously really not my taste if you've seen anything else that I've done here on the channel. Would this thing be sweet with maybe a stainless receiver and a black stock, maybe something synthetic up front here? Hell yeah, that would definitely look really cool. However, for a classic gun coming from Henry's like this, I think this thing is definitely growing on me. The action is super smooth. I could flick this thing out all day long. And I'm not gonna be shooting like a competition shooter, just banging off rounds constantly, but it is smooth and I think I could shoot this thing pretty fast if I wanted to. Now you may have noticed this little ring on the side of the gun here. This is actually what is called a saddle ring. These guns were brought to life back in the Western days when people would be riding around on horses, and instead of carrying a rifle, this might be the next best option. This thing would sit down on the side of the rider's leg in a holster, which I really wish that I had for a gun like this. And then this ring could be used to tether the gun to yourself or anything else on the saddle. That way you do not end up losing this thing. Technically, I could mount this thing up to a sling and just kind of have it across my chest like this, but I'm not going to do that for today. Another reason why guns like this were popular in the Western era is because if someone was carrying, say, a 6-shot revolver, it would be nice if their rifle was chambered in the same caliber. So this, like I said, is chambered in .45 Colt. You could also get one in .357, which a lot of common revolvers are chambered in the same. That will be especially nice for the next time I'm out riding my horse through the wild, wild west. I don't have to bring multiple calibers. I can just bring good old .45 Colt. So far, this gun is super fun. I'm gonna get out here and see if that sight adjustment did anything, and then eventually I will come back and give you guys my final thoughts on the Mare's leg. Let's see how this thing does one-handed. Not too bad. Now that I'm getting warmed up to this thing, accuracy-wise, let's see what it can do at about 50 yards. Not bad. Now, how about 100-ish? I don't think that this thing is going to have a problem getting out that far. I think the problem is going to be with me holding it because it's kind of awkward, and the accuracy might fall off a little bit in that aspect. Woo! First one, baby. 2. All right, at least I got some shots on target. Pretty cool. We gotta do it. Alright guys, back for my final impressions of the Henry Repeating Arms Mare's Leg. I can think of a few pros and cons to this, so let's start off with the cons. The first one being that since this is a pistol and it doesn't have a proper stock, it is a little bit weird to shoot. When you're holding this out in front of you, you have the whole gun right in front of your face, and it would be nice to just kind of throw this thing up against your shoulder. But at the same time, the pro of this gun being super smooth and the recoil being very much linear, that kind of outweighs that con. It definitely is a little goofy to kind of like stick and point at your target, but it is still very controllable because of that smooth action and recoil. Another con, depending on how you look at it, is the aesthetics of this gun. Like I said, I'm not a big wood grain brass receiver type of guy. However, this is really growing on me. Henry, if you're watching this, maybe this would be cool to see tacticalized, you know? One can only hope, right? One thing that I would recommend keeping around you while handling a gun like this, if you have OCD like me, would be a nice cloth to wipe off all of the fingerprints, because this polish is very, very shiny, as you guys can see, and it's definitely gonna attract a lot of fingerprints. Another con that people might say is simply that it is a lever action rifle. I don't fully understand it. I typically don't discriminate against any gun. I always give something a chance. But you know, and pretty much everyone knows, that there are people in the firearm community who hate on older technologies, like the 1911, for example. Is a striker-fired pistol gonna be lighter and hold more rounds and possibly be more reliable than a 1911? Yeah, sure. Is an AR pistol about this same size going to be lighter and more reliable than a lever action? I think it could be lighter, but in terms of reliability, I don't think you're ever going to run into an issue with a lever action rifle like this unless you end up short stroking it. That may not be the best example, because for the most part, I think everyone enjoys a nice classic lever action rifle like this. There's just something about that action every time you slam a new round into the chamber. It's just super satisfying. I guess we can talk about the trigger for a second. There really isn't a whole lot to say other than it is crisp, it is very nice. And I wouldn't say it's on the lighter side, because I have shot some lever action rifles with very, very nice triggers. However, if you compare this to, say, an off-the-shelf AR-15, I think you're going to enjoy this trigger pull a little bit more than that. Once you move this action, the trigger is in the firing position. Put your finger on there. Nice, gentle pull. Very crisp break. There's obviously not going to be a reset or the typical things that I talk about on guns, because you need to move your finger out of the way to get that next round in the chamber. But overall, I think it's a great trigger and it suits this package nicely. So I guess that's going to be all for today. I would definitely shoot this gun more, but after 150 rounds, 45 long Colt gets a little bit expensive. I'm even kind of banging up my knuckles from racking this thing so much, but if I had more rounds, I would definitely shoot it, because this thing is a blast. If you have any questions on this or want to know my opinion about something more specific, feel free to leave those in the comments down below. And if you like this episode of Sunday Gunday on lever action stuff and things, definitely leave a like and I can make more of these happen in the future. I think whether you guys like lever action or not, I'm probably going to keep making more videos on them because I simply enjoy shooting them. So if you're new to the channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every week, and that's going to be all for today. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.